Thing is on. How you guys doing? Welcome to another episode. I don't know what number episode this is. I don't know. Number 15 probably. Welcome to another episode of no, it's 16, I think. Welcome to another episode of this podcast. I should I should add some intro music or something to make it more dramatic. Like a little chime to just sound nice and more professional also. Because when you have those podcasts that have like a nice little chime at the beginning, it makes it seem so professional. They probably have a studio and a DJ somewhere there doing the chime. Yeah, it's not like, yeah, there's pros and stuff. But welcome to the Nanjero podcast. Actually, I've been thinking of changing the name of this thing. Because when I wanted to start this thing, I didn't know of a name, and I just thought, Jackson Nanjero podcast, just call it my name. I mean, it's cool, but I think I've even found a better name. I don't know I don't know how, because it's been so funny to me. That name is so funny. I've been laughing at that name all week, just by myself, because I personally find it very funny, and it kind of captures the theme of this podcast perfectly. So the name I've been thinking I should call this the failed podcast. The failed podcast. Yeah, I still find that very funny. How perfect. How perfect. So it's like the failed podcast with Jackson. Yeah. Yeah, people, that's gonna be my new intro. Yo. Next up on stage, comedian, and he also hosts the failed podcast. Yeah, that would be funny. Um, I think I'm going to change it. I mean, I've made bad decisions in life, so this is just, it's just another grain of sand on my beach of bad decisions. on my beach of, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I might do it. It's fun. It's funny. I find it funny, and but it's if I do it, it'd be really fun. I don't know. It's funny. It's just funny. That's all. There's nothing else to it. It's just funny. So yeah. This ain't professional in any way. I don't know what I'm doing. I have the munchies, man. I have to drink a little water and do all that. One thing I want to start doing is I want to start reading more, because have you ever have you ever gone for so long without reading a book that you start to feel stupid? That's how I'm feeling. It's been a good while since I've read a proper book, Yeah, like I don't want to read a technical book, just a good book that, kind of, I don't know, wrestles your mind kidogo, because it's nice. Cause I'm starting to feel stupid, man. Like, I don't even remember how to write. I think you should maybe science fiction, a good science fiction book. I don't know what's a good one. There's a book called I think it's called 1984 by George Or. I don't know the author. But 1984, I hear it's a good book. I started reading this book called The Brothers Karamazov. It was written by this guy called Fyodor Dostoevsky, and I couldn't finish the book because I found it. I know it's a classic philosophy book, but it's just I didn't I got bored, I guess. It's just one of those books that I have to really try to be focused, because I like doing like light reading. That's one I mostly do. I mostly just light reading, nothing heavy, but I want to get into heavy, like Heavy reading, that would be nice. I don't know what books you guys read. Do people read anymore on books? Because reading on a book feels so old school. And it feels so good. Reading an old book instead of an ebook on your phone or on your laptop. When you read a book, like, you know that nice smell that books have? It's so nice. It just smells like wood and knowledge. Books smell so good. That's like there's times I remember those times I would go to the library to just when I was in school. I remember I'd go to the library partly because I enjoyed the way it smells so much. It smells so good. Like when you just smell it, you feel like you're smart and better than everyone else. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's the smell it has. I remember, dude. I remember this one time I was in, I think, class 6, and we found this magazine in the library, and it had porn in it. And no, the teachers didn't know how it, like, we didn't know how it even ended up in the library, and we were like kids, and it had like porn, and so like all the boys all of a sudden started going to the library. Yeah, the library was where would hang because of that book. And then, oh, those are crazy times. We just go to the library break time and hang out, and people, it was even getting suspicious. Like, why are they, And then so they investigate. They eventually caught us with the book, and then it became this whole thing. Like, why how did this book even get here? I don't know how it got there though. Must have been like a big mistake, and then it just ended up at the library. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's the one thing that made us love the library. ah ah as kids you're so silly. Oh man. Yeah, the one yeah, that could be a good joke. uh yeah, I went to the library because of this. Yeah. As kids, we were so silly. The porn magazine in the library. I remember. I remember. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's good. It's good to read. It's good to get back to reading. It's nice and old school, and it's one of those traditions. I think I don't see as many readers these days as I used to. I don't see many readers. There's more gamers, obviously, but I don't see many readers. It's like manual cars. I don't see. They're just not a thing anymore. I like, where can you get a brand new manual car? Where it's almost, they're very rare. I'm sure there are some, but it's very rare. But that's the manual transmission. That's what makes driving fun. It feels so manly to have a clutch pedal is the manliest thing. A clutch pedal, and then you have the gear shifter. It's so manly. And then you have a big engine. It's just manly. It's just and it's a going tradition. It's a dying tradition per se. Yeah, things are just changing, I guess. Because I like analog stuff. I like things that are very analog and very mechanical, and yeah, I think everything's going to like digital now, and I'm so young, but I sound so old. Yeah, but like life in the past was really fun because I actually think people in the past partied harder than we do today. Because I've seen like videos from the 90s and the 80s and the culture that was there. Like, I think people went harder back then than today. Because, wow, those guys are nuts. Also, the 90s is like, I think the 90s is the golden age. The golden age of art. I really think so. Like, to me personally, I know I was not alive for most of the 90s, but to me personally, I think the best art and the best movies and music and just and then just good things just came from the 90s. Just imagine the music that came from the 90s, like think of dudes like Pac and Biggie, like Snoop, Dr. Dre, and I think Dre was from the 80s. But yeah, bands like I think they really caught on in the 90s. Nirvana, I don't know. I think Nirvana was in the 80s. And 90s too. Um yeah, imagine that time. Yeesh. Just amazing. And the movies that came from the 90s. Legendary movies. Like without a doubt, the best movies of all time, I think, are from the 90s. Think of Goodfellas, Casino, Shawshank Redemption. Oh my God. I just watched Goodfellas. Like I just watched Goodfellas I think was a week ago now, because I'd never watched it, and I've heard so much about it. Like it's always in everyone's top 10 list. Goodfellas, good. And I watched this movie, and it's amazing. It's so good. Joe Pesci, he's so scary, and the scariest thing is that movie is based on a true story. Yeah, it's based on a true story, so that's even it's so scary. These people were real; they existed, and Joe Pesci. I think his name was Tommy, and Ray Liotta. Is it Ray Liotta or Ray Liotta? That's probably how it's said. Yeah, Casino. Casino is a good movie. The other time I've been addicted, with these mafia movies, these mobsters, Italian mobster. I love how they talk. Welcome to New York, kid. And I love how when they want to kill someone, they say you gotta whack them. Whack sounds like slap, but that's like murder to them. But yeah, those are some cool movies. Um, yeah, music from the 90s, amazing too. Cause especially for me, cause I'm into like West Coast hip hop from the 90s. I love it. Not even just generally hip hop from the 90s. What do I mean West Coast? Am I choosing sides? No, it's great. It's amazing. I love Ice Cube. I love I love Easy E. These niggas was gangsters. Damn. I love Nas. Oh man, I love Nas. Nas is just on a whole other level. Illmatic, 1994. Woo! I love Nas. Uh, who else? Who else? Warren G, Nate Dogg. Oh yeah, Nate Dogg was the king of hooks. Uh, Let me try to remember. Of course, Pac. You know, Machiavelli, Tupac Shakur. That guy was a legend. Like, I don't like he's such a legend even after I don't know how many years it is now, like 20, 25, over 25 years for sure. Still a legend. People still watching his videos. People Tupac, I see him everywhere, like on like I see him everywhere. Tupac Shakur, that's a legend. Um, who's a real legend? I'm forgetting. Yeah, I've said Snoop Dogg. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Oh yeah, Biggie, of course. Biggie. Jay-Z. Jay-Z is a legend. Jay-Z is also a legend. Massive legend. Jay-Z. Yeah. Yeah. And these guys are so like I think what makes them real is that these people went through like real struggles, and that's where the art is from. I love hip hop. It's amazing. Also, I've been in I've had a I've had a lovey-dovey thing with a piano. It's really nice as well, I think. Uh yeah, I'm a piano. I like the drums. Some people think they're a little wacky. But yeah, it's interesting. It's new. It's nice. It's nice to hear the sounds of places. Yeah, but I like music. I mean, many people do. Who doesn't? But I have a music has a special part in people's hearts. I wish comedy was like that. Yeah, I wouldn't if comedy was like that, I wouldn't be recording this on my phone. But yeah, I wonder what the role of like comedy is, because even before I started in comedy always felt like philosophy. Do you know what I mean? Like comedy is philosophy in a way. Because if you really think about it, the like ideas of philosophers, w- some ideas are so crazy that you go like, what? But then they're true. How do I really put this? Like, some ideas are so out there, but then you just, you know, the more you live life, the more they reveal themselves. And that's kind of like what comedy is, because comedy is just crazy ideas. It's people saying crazy things on stage. And these crazy things are actually true, but that means that the life is crazy. Because the truth is crazy, because all comedians do is tell the truth, albeit with a little bit of exaggeration, but we tell the truth. That's what we say. It's just the truth. And it's so funny. I don't understand humor at all, but it's just, I love funny people. I love funny people. Because funny people make depressing shit, easier to digest. It's so easy to just laugh at things. How do you think I cope with like life? You just laugh at it, and that's what comedians. That's kind of like, to me at least, that's like the philosophy of comedy. Let's laugh at how absurd life is, because life is ridiculously absurd. We are on a floating rock in space, going around a nuclear fusion, a big fucking nuclear fusion reactor, the sun. And that's going around the galaxy, and the galaxy is going I don't know where, and we're animals on this rock, and we don't know what we're doing. And this whole situation is very confusing and absurd, and there's no one to like hold our hand. I don't know if there's a god. Do you think there's a god? I don't know personally, but it's life itself is so scary when it's bare. But with the element of comedy, with laughter, we can actually laugh in the face of this infinite. What is the universe even? We just laugh at it, because it seems to me the universe seems so indifferent. Like, it just does not give a fuck about humans and our little projects. But yeah, I guess that's how you deal with life. You just laugh at it, and that's really the philosophy behind comedy. And it's really fun as well. People get to talk about their dicks on stage. Yeah. It's not like philosophy, because to really enjoy philosophy, you have to probably be in a library somewhere. Okay, a library smells nice, so it's not that bad. But yeah, really like, they're really similar. Yeah, really similar, not different. Philosophy and comedy could be even one thing, possibly. Yeah, but the ideas behind them are very similar. I think comedy is, presented to you with comedy is philosophy cloaked with humor. Yeah, that's what comedy is. Comedy is philosophy. Like deep down, comedy is philosophy, and then it's covered with like layers of humor. But when you dig deep, yeah, that's so true, right? When you dig deep down into comedy, it's just philosophy, and you come up and it's just dumb shit. But deep down, it's philosophy. Yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. For the first time, you guys have learned something from this podcast. Um, but yeah, thank you for listening to another episode of Yeah, I'm seriously going to call it the failed podcast for another episode of the failed podcast with your host Jackson and Jero. Yeah, thank you for listening. I'll see you, or you'll hear from me next Friday. Thanks. I'll see you.